Welcome back, episode 2 of the DTJ Cast. We have made it to the second episode. We've survived.
Yep. Part 2.
Part 2 is here. We're in the middle of changing platforms, and we kind of are working with different setup now, an upgraded setup. So
yeah, we're really getting our logistics in order and getting all of our hosting together, because that's kind of important. SoundCloud's not going to allow us too much.
Exactly, yeah. So this one might be on SoundCloud, but after that,
probably be moving to like a Libsyn or something like that. I kind of have. Yeah, I have been doing the background.
Yeah, we haven't decided yet, but that's upcoming.
I mean, eventually we're going to be pushed to your iTunes and all of that. You know, your basic Stitchers, and anywhere you want to get a podcast, you'll be able to find us.
Right. So there will be more frequency in the future between episodes, probably every couple weeks to start.
Every 1 to 2 weeks, at least, we're gonna be on in your ears.
Yeah, we had some great feedback on the first episode. People seem to dig it.
Yeah, thank you guys for actually talking about it and listening.
Yeah, quite a bit of views. You know, we're just starting off here. We're not Joe Rogan or Adam Carolla yet, but we're getting it together here. Like I said, a new apparatus and a new server, basically, and yeah, so that's what's taking a little bit. We're both working and musicians and busy and all that stuff too. Yeah, what's your thoughts and feedback on the first episode? I got pretty much all positive.
Yeah. I got...
people seem to be entertained.
Yeah, everybody pretty much liked it. I got a little complimentary criticism, but I don't mind it. I liked it. It actually gave me a little more insight into it. You know, I mean, it was literally the first time we'd ever tried it. And
yeah,
we just
about like legal stuff.
Seat of our pants.
But yeah, that first, you know, this is an opinions show.
Seat of our pants, is that?
Yeah, you can go with that.
Can you say that? No.
Could be. We'll count it.
We'll edit it out.
But yeah, this is opinions show, so I don't claim to know everything about everything.
No. Speaking of not knowing everything, in the previous episode, I did make a mistake about misattributing the quote of "practice makes perfect," but nobody's perfect, so I practice. I said that was Billy Corgan, if I believe, and that was not Billy Corgan. That was Kurt Cobain. So sorry, guys, if you've been running around telling everybody that Billy Corgan said some stupid shit. It was actually Kurt Cobain.
Okay. Well, that's settled.
That was a math.
Apologies to Billy if you ever listen to this. What else did we miss from the first episode? Is there a couple things?
Oh, I mean, I feel like I missed a lot for a first episode, but nothing I need to really... I mean, I could nitpick all day, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, we're just dipping our
hopefully we're going to have a ton more of these,
this.
So, you know, anything I miss will get brought back up in the future.
Yeah, we're just dipping our toes in this, so we're not going to be perfect. We're not going to be, seasoned broadcasters yet.
And
but
as long as you can keep giving us your feedback, we'll be working harder on making it a lot more concise.
Right, yeah. So, man, yeah, I know. Been busy with work, and Easter's coming up and all that. Just had gigs.
Yeah, how was that last gig you had just recently, Saturday?
That was good, yeah. Good dancing out in Litchfield again. Chaps. Litchfield. Yeah. Always have great crowds out there. They get there a little late, but it's popping once it gets going.
Hey, yeah,
it's like a 2:30 a.m. bar.
Right.
So, yeah, just been doing that.
Yeah, but it being like an hour away, you probably don't get home until...
Oh, yeah, I didn't get home till almost 4.
Wow, yeah, 4 a.m., folks. That's the life of a musician.
Yeah, and the wind apparently was blowing out transformers like along 270. So there was just these random... Me and Eric he was driving me back, and yeah, just you'd see random green explosions along 270 while we were driving. Wow. Sparks flying off onto the highway.
Pretty
it's
surreal.
Like 3 a.m, storming. Just, yeah, so that was quite an experience while you're exhausted from playing, 4 hours. But no, we always love Chaps. They always do. They always take great care of us out there, and I love Illinois peeps, man. They dance. They get
come out and dance,
it.
and they
right.
They enjoy the show a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. just great fans out there that we've made, good friends that we've made out there. So yeah, coming up, next thing's that we're out at Charlac Pub again.
Okay.
May 10th, starting at 9. Rock Road in 170. Charlac Pub.
Shout out to Charlac.
I'm up there every Wednesday. I'll probably be up. We're recording this on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I will probably be up there later tonight jamming with my buddy John.
I'm gonna have to make it up there
Sean
one of
and
these
Scott.
times. I will.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Could use some drums, man.
Yeah.
Or some bongos. Tambourine. I showed you my
Yeah,
tambourine.
you do got that new Meinl tambourine. It's pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
Well, it's new to you. I've been using it for a little
Well,
bit.
I
But
mean,
you could
it's-
probably, I'm sure.
It still looks really nice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure you could outuse it on me, but
No, I'm not very good with the tambourine. I've been working on my like shuffles and stuff. I was never really that
Yeah.
good with keeping that. It's not as easy. People think you just pick it up and you shake it, and there you go. And
well, it's not exactly a
nowhere
drum.
near- No, it's not. It's a mixture
Its
between.
own. Yeah, I mean, it's a percussion,
it is definitely percussion,
but it's not a drum.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot harder than it looks. For those out there who've never played one that thinks, it's like playing a triangle or something where you just tap a piece of metal to another piece of metal.
there's only like one
yeah,
real note or sound.
Yeah,
you can get
there's
out of.
not too much going on with the triangle. I mean,
No, the
but-
tambourine you can actually get quite a few like in between things than just the slapping.
and just one slapper. Yeah, and the thing about the tambourine is if you're playing it wrong, people know.
Yeah,
It's not something you can like hide your mistakes with. It's pretty much like you're either on or you're off with the tambourine because it does have that one kind of tone, that ringy. But if you're not in sync with the beat or whatever, you're gonna throw the drummer off a lot. If you're playing tambourine and he can hear it and you're not in time with him, perfect. Like
yeah. I usually just play guitar and sing background vocals because John and Scott are so badass.
right.
At what they do. I compliment them well, I hope. I try to. But yeah, Charlac, and then I think we do the first winery show in June or something like that.
That's gonna be awesome.
Then there's the food truck thing. There's still this big thing May 18th we're hoping for, but we can't necessarily talk about yet, other than that we hope it happens.
May 18th happens to be my mother's birthday.
Yeah,
well.
Your birthday's coming up here
Not too long.
next weekend, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Looking forward to that.
No. No, not really. Just another day. Getting older.
They do get less fun the older you get, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I'm working. It's just going to be another. I'm not unhappy about it, but no, I'm not. It's not like, woo, my birthday's coming. At 36 now, I've had enough of them.
you had a trip recently up to KC. That was your first trip there.
Yeah.
With our buddy Mike. How did that go?
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Saw some bands, got some good swag.
Yeah, I saw some really good bands, some like prog metal type of bands.
Okay. Was Adam drumming there?
No.
Okay, that was a different
That was
thing.
a different
thing you went
venue.
to?
I went to a show and saw Hell Night, his band,
Right.
For their CD release.
Cool.
Their album release. I purchased the LP.
Yeah, I've been following
and got all their
his posts
signatures
from Europe. And
oh, yeah. He got to tour
kick ass.
an actual kind of famous band called The Lion's Daughter. Seen him playing and essentially was like, hey, can you tour Europe with us for like 3 weeks, I think it was? Maybe it was 6 weeks. Yeah, his posts have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've been seeing them randomly.
Congrats to
now
him,
that I've
man.
kind of gotten
Awesome.
back on Facebook occasionally.
Yeah, that's
But
that'll help the show if you do that.
Yeah,
As annoying as it is.
Yeah.
I would love to quit, but if you're trying to run a couple bands and
You got to have a presence
podcast and,
online.
Yeah. But
the KC show was. I mean, the Hell Night show was phenomenal too. But the KC show that I went to recently, there was some big bands there. Rivers and Nihil was the headlining act. They're a really good metal prog band that has like sax in a lot of their songs, a lot of sax playing, and they do a lot of like jazz stuff. So I would recommend them to not just metal fans, but a lot of fans. some of the other bands I saw were definitely for your metal guys only. But
I love Casey.
the bar was awesome. It was at the Riot Room.
There's kind of a made-up rivalry between the cities.
I've heard,
from some people, but I have nothing but good things to say about Casey.
Well, I mean, I guess
have
because of
some
sports,
good
right?
I believe so.
That's generally what you're...
The 85 World Series.
Right.
Where the Cardinals were basically robbed. But...
is that what happened?
Most people think so, yeah. Well, not Kansas City.
Well, right. That's what the rivalry
Anywhere
is.
beyond KC, I think it's pretty well accepted,
So it's like Turkey and Armenia.
Well, I mean, there's a rivalry between, Chicago and St. Louis and Chicago and Detroit. And
sure.
It's like a friendly
one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're saying that, like, KC is essentially, like, the grassy knoll or something? Like...
To St. Louis,
like everybody,
Kennedy.
Yeah, is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay. Sorry, Casey, I didn't mean to implement any of that.
It's just kind of a thing out there, like, oh, you're from
I never mentioned to anyone where I was from, so it never came up.
I'm not necessarily proud to be.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily. Yeah, I mean, but we have our own roots. That's where we,
right.
We must not forget where we came from.
Well, anyway, Casey, we love you out there. We might be playing out there this summer, hopefully, at a couple. It'll be like a Friday place and then a Saturday place. So that might be cool. I've had some good times out there. There's good people. There's no rivalry in my book. But, I just thought we'd talk about that because, whenever I hear about it a little from people, but like I said, I think it's kind of that, where'd you go to high school thing, or that,
That's definitely big in St. Louis.
Maybe the Bermuda Triangle thing. It's not actually any more dangerous than any other part of the ocean.
Yeah, it just has a reputation
statistically wise, but yeah, I guess... Right.
A stigma, because, I mean, it sells a story. It's a sexy story that sells, a rivalry.
I think you'll get that in anytime there's like two cities within 3 or 4 hours of each other.
I can say,
especially in the same state.
Yeah, as a native St. Louisan.
Was that your first time there?
It was my first time there, and I thought it was a beautiful place.
Yeah, it really
looked amazing pulling in there. It looked bigger than St. Louis. Yeah. It felt bigger, and honestly, I mean,
it's more of a Western city than St. Louis is.
Yeah,
it
definitely feels
that
way.
Sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad
I would really look forward to visiting it again.
In the future, spend more time.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was when I went to Atlanta last year. We were basically there just for a day.
Yeah, I was only there for...
It was on our way to somewhere else.
A cup of tea, as it were. I didn't...
But, I dug it. We did this awesome aquarium they have out there. Had some good food. Walked around down... Atlanta's huge. It's way bigger than St. Louis. Yeah. Walked through the Olympic Park. That was pretty neat.
I passed through it on my way to Florida. I've never actually...
Yeah, that's exactly what we
I never stopped there.
We passed on our way through it to the beach. So, yeah, another one of those cities I'd like to spend more than a day in. Nashville.
Soak in some of its local culture and some of its food, because the food's good.
You can't experience a place fully in just one day. We were on our way to the beach too, so it was like, this is great, but
we got a beach trip.
Glad you got to go there. It sounded fun, man. I saw you brought back some cool swag and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm now, I mean, in my youth, I kind of would just download music, and I wouldn't really purchase merch and stuff from the bands that I loved, and now that I'm getting older and I have a little more income, it's a little more disposable, maybe.
Right.
I'm starting to purchase, the LPs of bands, but also, with the intent of hopefully I can get it signed too, and I might buy a wall flag or something, because, it's not easy to be a band nowadays, and you got to support these smaller musicians who are touring these bars and stuff. Even if you can't make the show, you could throw them a couple bucks.
I always try and buy a shirt or a wristband.
Try to support them, because, I mean, your ticket does support them, but it's not
I have not been able to just get out to a lot of shows lately because work, and then my own. No, not to be selfish, but
you got to be at your
own
own
shows.
shows
If I could,
too.
I'd go out every night,
Right.
and record and help people do video. Because I like to do that. Not that I'm very great at it.
Hey,
but
practice makes perfect.
like I said, with work, being a husband,
Right.
paying bills, trying to keep my own musical stuff going, which I spam the hell out of, and I'm sure people are annoyed by. But well, what's going on in the news? Something huge. A huge rumor has been quashed, it looks like, as far as Ozzy, who I'm hoping he's recovering, because I know all of his stuff in 2019's canceled, from what I heard.
He canceled all his stuff.
Apparently, they're some of these dates, they're not refunding the tickets. They're just like, it's rescheduled.
At TBA.
Yeah, for 2020. And some of these people are like, yeah, I kind of just need my money back.
Right.
I don't know where I'm going to be doing a year from.
Right.
No one can guarantee they're going to be walking the earth above ground a
Yeah,
year from now.
I bought it for now.
Right. So I was listening to Eddie Trunk, and apparently that's an issue people are having. Because, you're talking at least a 6, 7, 8 month wait.
Yeah.
Because I think they've said it's going to be 2020.
And it's probably a 3-figure ticket.
Oh, yeah, it's $100 plus. Yeah.
So it's like,
after the convenience
I'm supposed
fees.
to wait a year plus, possibly.
But you can rest assured in knowing that he did not snort ants.
Apparently not.
It was just a spider.
Not according to Jake Ely.
Who had an excellent rig rundown. I believe that's Premier Guitar's YouTube channel.
He was Ozzy's.
He was there
guitarist.
for.
He was between Rhodes and Wild, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach Wild, the Wild Man. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, yeah, he was in between Randy and Zach.
Yeah. Apparently, he was there for the occasion.
He was there for this story,
the snorting
that came out
something.
So in this Motley Crue movie that's been all the rage, it's depicted that he snorted a line of ants.
Yeah, well, that's a long rumor that Ozzy snorted a line of ants at some party, and everybody saw it, and holy hell, Ozzy's mad, man. He bites the heads off of bats and snorts ants.
Okay, so if you want to know more, go to Ultimate Guitar. We're reading this right off their website. Yeah. So during an appearance on Tone Talk, Jake Ely talked about the famous story about Ozzy Osbourne allegedly snorting a line of ants back in '84 while they were on tour with Motley Crue again. This all kind of came back with the whole Motley Crue movie, which we will be doing a review or watch along with.
Yeah, we're gonna
some sort of episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be
along with the Queen one once that hits DVD.
I think it is hit DVD.
It has it hit DVD
I think it
now.
Has.
But yeah, that's kind of rekindled this whole story. I was there, and I never saw the ants. I was right there, according, again, this is Jake Ely. He snorted a little spider. There was not a trail of fucking ants there. Tommy Lee says it. Nikki says it. Ozzy says it. They were all fucked up. I was not. I was just trying to get suntan. That's all I was doing there. They were all getting fucked up. Ozzy snorted a tiny, stupid spider that was crawling across. There were no ants. There was no fucking ants. He doesn't care what the other guy says. There are no ants, guys. So it was just a spider that Ozzy snorted there.
And nobody's friends with spiders.
Yeah, they'll just hang on to that $200 or $300 till 2020. Not a big fan of Ozzy's management, and I'll just kind of keep
Sharon still.
Hey, you said that, not me.
No, I mean, was he sharing his management? I had no implication of who his management might be and how terrible they might have been for everyone that's ever been a part of them.
I'll leave that to the listener, if there are any, to
Sorry,
decide.
folks, there's money to be had.
But apparently the other rumor about the urination was true.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you could kind of believe that both of them. Somebody was there.
So yeah, right. According to Jake E. Lee, I don't think Jake E. Lee was ever a drug person.
No,
either.
that was part of his thing. Wasn't
Yeah,
it? I mean, he was.
right.
That's what he said. He
Nor
was just
was
trying to get a fucking suntan.
Yeah, nor was Randy.
And they're all fucked up around him, and he's just like, "Yeah, guys, we got gigs and shit coming up." And
yeah. Now Zach Wilde, who's completely sober now, who I love, they did get fucked up a lot
clean
back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake E. Lee, as far as I know,
he's not.
He wasn't a drug guy.
I don't think he was a teteetoter necessarily. I don't think he abstained totally, but he was not a drug.
But
guy.
he does verify the pee
the
stuff.
veracity of that story.
If anyone out there's a fan of that, quote, "Oh, that part was true. It started with a contest. It was Nikki and it was Ozzy. They started in the pool. They were in the swimming pool and they kind of raced, which Ozzy lost. They did a push-up contest, which of course Ozzy lost. Ozzy was getting tired of losing, so he stepped it up." Jake E. Lee says, "I remember at one point, Ozzy was sitting there. He got this weird look on his face. He was sitting on the concrete, and then piss started flowing out from underneath him."
Just sitting there.
And according to Jake E. Lee, he was obviously doing a lot of vitamins because the urine was like lime green.
Wow.
So Nikki Sixx, I remember, urinated on the girl he was with, and she was just lounging about. She was not very happy about that. Why would you be?
Right. I mean, I guess he just was like, fuck it, I'm going to one-up you pissing yourself. I'm going to piss on this girl that I brought.
So I guess where we're going with this is, like, I think it would have been better had he snorted the ants.
Maybe.
And not have done all this.
Right. Not have inadvertently gotten someone R. Kelly'd.
Right. But
then apparently, because Ozzy didn't want to get beat.
Right. It was
even, I mean, he pissed himself. Sixx pissed a woman.
The figurative pissing contest turned into a literal one right before their eyes.
But then even worse, though, after that.
Oh, yeah. You want to read that part? I'll probably dry heave if I'm forced to.
I mean, apparently...
Basically, we talked about it already.
Apparently, the woman was not very happy about being urinated on, but then Ozzy had pissed the ground, and Nikki saw that, went and pissed the girl, and then in the lounge chair. But then Ozzy bent over and started licking his own piss, apparently. This is according to Jake E. Lee, and probably everybody else. They probably did see this. That's when Lee said, like, all right, I'm out of here. Not only is that happening, there's families on the other side of the pool, children and mothers and fathers looking horrified, like, what the fuck is going on over there? So apparently that's his recollection. Ozzy snorted a little spider, and there's no ants. It's about.
So we've dispelled
the bigger part of that story is the poor girl getting pissed on, and the parents and the children having to witness it. They're just debauchery. I mean,
that was 1984.
Yeah, 84.
We've dispelled a huge,
the conspiracy
part of that movie, though. So this show has kind of served a purpose already, right?
Yeah.
And all it took was, like, probably completely grossing you out.
Yeah, we haven't even watched the fucking thing yet.
No, like we said, there is going to be a review / watch along / something.
Yeah, maybe with Slash if we can get his people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what else is going on in guitar music stuff? For you Game of Thrones fans, there's...
oh, yeah.
I'm kind of worried about this. I'm thinking Fender's making some of the Gibson-type decisions from the last 10 or 15 years here.
Yeah.
It's kind of guitars for...
Their marketing
for lawyers and doctors,
ultra rich, yeah.
They look cool, but...
Well, they definitely look nice. I mean...
But guitars are priced between $25,000 and $35,000. So Fender has Game of Thrones guitars. There's a House Lannister Fender Jag. There's
a Targaryen Strat.
There's
a Stark Telly.
And a Stark Telly,
which is the one I like the most. If I had to pick one, I would probably take the Stark Telly. But not even because of the Stark logo on it, but because I really like that Telly.
And the promo stuff and the press stuff, they have Tom Morello holding the Strat. They
Nuno
have
Betancourt from Extreme, which we
Yes,
mentioned earlier.
We did, yeah.
Scotty of Anthrax fame.
Yep. I know Tom's a Fender player, but Nuno's a Washburn player. He has his own Washburn
He's got his own
signature.
line, yeah.
And Scotty is not a Fender player that I know of. So
not that, yeah.
that's some interesting marketing there, but okay. Pretty sure Scotty plays Jackson's and Nuno.
Apparently, during the reveal, they got all three of those guitarists and GOT co-creator and showrunner D.B. Weiss and the composer to jam the show's theme.
Wow.
Which you can also check out.
Go back up there. 14 dislikes to 9 likes. So I don't think I'm the only one that's kind of...
Oh, yeah. I think it's a ridiculous PR stunt.
They look cool, but you could make a guitar that looks like that for $500-$600. Yeah, that
to be amazing for $1,500.
Yeah, but you could make a Mexican or Indonesian one for $500 or $600 that most musicians would be able to afford. It's just like I said, it's kind of something Gibson would have done 12 years ago. Just stupid
indulgent PR stunt.
Yeah, that only a doctor or lawyer is going to buy.
Yeah. $25,000 to $35,000. I mean, that's a car. You can't. Can you really justify it anyway? Even if you're a millionaire, can you really? I mean, maybe if it's like Robert Johnson's old acoustic.
Yeah. Like I said, they look cool.
How much do you think actually went into the production of those guitars, though? Maybe
maybe
$1,500?
They're all hand-built by Fender's top custom shop guy.
Okay.
And they're built to order. So
I mean,
it's not like they built 300 each of them.
There's not a big line.
That's something Gibson would have done 8 to 10 years ago.
Expect there to be a market for...
Because, their ownership was just insanely dumb. Which has changed now, thankfully. But it's a hard pass for me. And from this article, most of the reaction is not.
Yeah, I mean, almost all the comments are about.
Most of them
price.
are. It looks cool, but the price is just stupid.
Yeah,
and like I said, you could have built a made in Mexican Fender for $500 or $600.
Yeah,
that looks as cool as that.
Exactly,
and is a playable,
probably plays
giggable,
just as well. Not just as well, but near it. I mean,
you could have made a guitar that hundreds of thousands of people could buy, but you made a guitar that 7 people are gonna buy.
Right.
So Ozzy didn't snort the ants, and the GOT guitars look cool, but chance of owning one for the most average Joe is pretty much impossible.
Not really gonna happen.
Something you can afford, though, that we wanted to talk about. You keep getting this link to watch this video on your YouTube about what the deal with Behringer is. I encouraged you to watch that video because, for one, it's the JHS. I believe the JHS pedals guy, who's awesome, makes awesome stuff. I can't afford it, but it's more affordable than a $35,000 GOT guitar, though. Yeah. But basically, that video is about Behringer cloning a lot of popular pedal circuits, putting them in not as expensive, not as rugged casings,
and maybe not as boutique.
Looking. Right. And they have quite a few clones of Boss stuff, of any popular. There's a Memory Boy clone they have. There's a Tube Screamer clone they have. There's a bunch of vintage pedals with actual tubes in it that they've cloned. I can't think of the name. They're pretty successful. Behringer owns TC Electronics, which I realized lately. Which I have a couple of their things, which I like. Our band mixer, new one that we run, which is pretty cool, is a Behringer. I've had a few of their pedals in the past.
You just run all of your guys' sound through that essentially, like
Through the Behringer
anything
mixer,
that would go to
yeah.
the house, you run essentially through your own
when
system now.
we run
instead
our
of-
own sound, or
Yeah.
Dennis runs our
Right.
sound, the majority of the shows we do. And every night is different, every building is different, every crowd is different, every room is different.
Always a variable. That's where a lot of
power.
That's where your practice comes into play, and hopefully you can get
the
through
power
all
to
of that.
every place is
Yeah.
different. Yeah, exactly. There's
Yeah.
so many factors.
Yeah, so many variables that if
You
you're
want to
not
be loud, but you want to be a good, healthy. You
Yeah.
don't want to be painful loud.
yeah,
You want to
exactly.
be a nice, full, round, a little bit of boomy loud. I mean, as a whole unit, but not where it's painful.
Right.
Yeah, I've had their Boss Harmonizer clone. I've had their, I think it was a Rat Fuzz clone.
Okay.
Both of those got stolen.
Of course.
But they were good. You've got a Behringer.
A lot
products.
of stuff I own is Behringer. Not a whole lot, but I mean my my drum, the amp that I use, it's actually kind of a keyboard amp. It's a Behringer keyboard amp, but it was sold to me when I bought the electronic drum set I use, the Roland TD4, and
They still have that very same amp.
That
new
amp still
for sale
sells
for like $200 or $300.
It's a beast. It's taken a punishing. It's been beat up and scratched and kicked around, and it's taken extreme weather conditions, and I mean it's literally been rained on.
Yeah,
and it's still
lots
plays.
of practices at the barn,
Yeah.
Zach's old barn for Strangest Tribe.
I mean, I haven't really gigged with it necessarily, but I don't need to gig with it, but I probably could.
Yeah.
Still,
it's got a line
after
out.
like 10 years of owning it's never ever once given me a problem.
We're actually recording on some Behringer stuff now.
Yeah, I have a Behringer Euphoria UMC 404 HD. That is the interface that we're actually talking into right now through the microphones. But the Behringer interface it's beautiful, and for its price range, it's from the research I've done, it's apparently got like the best preamps you're going to get on any kind of interface for this price range, because it's got the Midas preamps, which they put in like their $600 head units, so you are sacrificing some like external build quality and stuff like that, like you were mentioning with the pedals, but the internals are still solid, and they've done a lot of work over the years on improving their overall quality. And like if I say the words line 6,
Yep.
People that know what line 6 is automatically goes,
right.
And apparently it used to be Behringer, and people, I don't feel that way anymore. Like maybe people did then, but
yeah, I think they've improved their name the last few years, but some people don't necessarily like them for just cloning stuff. But
yeah, I mean, but that's what in a diverse market, you can't keep a monopoly on things.
And there may
especially when it comes to a sound.
Sometimes there's not a lot of difference in circuits between, Wampler pedals, who I love, made a great video on YouTube about this. Like, the difference between quite a few pedals, the circuit is very
little.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that video, the point it was making, like, it's not every time, but sometimes it's not a clone. It's just there's a bunch of stuff that's very similar. You know what I mean?
Right. You can't do it any other way.
Right. It's just, and it puts it in the hands of makes it affordable for working class.
Right. If I could,
which I like.
If I could get a Mexican Strat for $500 that plays just like that Game of Thrones guitar for $35,000. And then I can spend another $200 and get somebody to custom make me the fucking pick guards and the paint the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't I do that? The only real reason to spend all that money is to say I spent all this money at that point. If there's affordable options that are the exact same thing out there, why would you buy the more expensive?
Well, people like to piss on Line 6 and Behringer. It's a lot of snobbery.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of...
That's where you get that gut reaction of, it's like, well, are you saying that because you don't like it?
And the whole industry of the gear has become, I would think the
Ozzy
gear
and
industry
Nikki Sixx's
is
pissing
more
contest.
profitable than the record industry, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that got Gibson in trouble was
right.
their focus
Just
didn't...
expecting people to buy something.
When their focus was just on
made
making great guitars, they are fine.
They made great guitars.
But then they tried to they ruined a popular DAW. I can't...
they started punching outside their weight class.
Yeah, they brought on... They got into other industries that they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, that weren't profitable. It dragged down their instrument building industry.
Yeah.
So they sold all that stuff off, but it did tremendous damage.
Everything that built them up, they sold off.
Henry Jeskowitz was like not a popular CEO.
Yeah.
They had to pay him a ton of money to go away. The guy they have in there now, I like. It seems like they just want to build good guitars and good basses. Is what they should do.
James Curley is the current.
Yeah. I mean, from my opinion, their build quality is already better. Their QC is better. Not perfect. You know, there's still stuff that's like, how did this get out of the fact? But not. There was like a 5 or 6 year period where, it was
you
just
would not
brutal.
want anything
like
coming out of that factory. If you could even
Fretboards
afford
weren't
it.
oiled at all. The fretboards look terrible. They weren't doing it for me. But
what a colossal waste of funds, resources, and time.
I do have a newer Les Paul that I love, though, that I wouldn't have even considered getting 5 or 6 years ago. I'm very happy with it.
Nice.
And I think they're in a lot better shape now. And they're just making better instruments now.
I mean, that's...
And they're getting away from the stuff that Fender we just talked about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Going over their level of expertise in trying to dip their toes into the waters that they don't need to...
You're going to sell... We're in a time now where you're going to make, in my opinion, you're going to make more money, sell more stuff at $800 or $900 to $1,500 than you are for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 guitars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion.
That's not just yours.
Gibson became, in my opinion, they became like focused on selling to collectors and shit instead of selling to musician, you know.
Right. They alienated their audience.
A little bit, and
by saying
their quality
we're not
control was
build
down.
for you right now. We're gonna. I mean, the little guy who works a 9 to 5 who's trying to buy that nice guitar that they've always wanted isn't trying to save up $35,000 fucking dollars for a guitar.
I always try and go for affordable but still solid.
But solid quality.
You know.
And you have to do your due diligence on that. You don't just go and buy the next line that comes off.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to find a 62 or afford like a 62 Fender Strat, but I have a Mexican Strat that's a pretty good Mexican Strat that sounds pretty vintagey, sounds very Stratty, and that was a $400, $500 or something that I traded for.
Right.
Most of my stuff is just trade-ins. I'm pretty set now for the projects that I'm in. And anything that I would jump in, I'm pretty set. I was kind of more focused on heavy stuff from the bands I was playing in with the orange amps and, you know, nothing but humbucker guitars.
Yeah.
Now I only have 1.5 humbucker guitars, basically, when I, you know, Les Paul and a Strat, that's all I need, and an acoustic.
Pretty much, yeah. As long as they're all
But
in
when
good
you have other
and...
tunings, you know, we have some shit with other tunings that you're not going to drop a half step in the middle of a show. So you'll need that. And then if I'm playing Get Lucky or Uptown Funk, I don't necessarily want to use a Gibson Les Paul. I want to use a Strat. So to a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, how many you know? It's like, well, yeah, but... You know,
like how many paintbrushes does a painter need? How many?
You know, if someone has like a dump truck that they have for their business, they're not going to drive it to the grocery store,
right?
And they're not going to take the car they take to the grocery store. Everything I have, I use the fuck out of now.
Yeah, it's not just superfluous,
right? Yeah, exactly. It's not like luxury.
Yeah, it's not a $35,000 Game of Thrones guitar,
right? Exactly. But yeah, anyway, I think you kind of get up into that snobbery with Line 6. I actually have a Line 6 product. Their wireless G10 or something
right.
is what I use. I just started using it again because I had like 2 or 3 shows in a row where I would step on my, because every stage is so cramped. Every stage is so, it's not a complaint against anybody. It's just the reality of it.
It's just the way it goes. Yeah, it's not
And
like you're playing stadiums right now.
I'm naturally, honestly, a klutz, a buffoon.
Yes.
Especially if I'm going crazy playing rock and roll and have a few drinks. Not every step is going to be. And you're trying to entertain
the damned crowd. All right?
Not every step is going to be perfect. So yeah, there was a couple shows in a row. Nothing too bad, but just let's not have this anymore. So yeah, the wireless, which we talked about, I think a little bit.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that in one.
It's not perfect. It's not quite as good as a cord, but I'll trade a few frequencies that the crowd won't even notice for. And it went perfect. I didn't step on a single thing. I went out and danced a little with the crowd. Yeah. Kind of hammed it up.
And Line 6 facilitated that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Would I use one of their amps?
For a live setting? Maybe not.
Not necessarily for me, not my choice. I play for what Noco's doing. My Fender.
You don't need a modeling amp or
But if you're a shredding metal heavy player,
maybe you need all of those tones and the
people shit on what they don't use or what they haven't found a use for. Yeah. But
it's like you can hate auto-tune all you want, but you can't deny the fact that it made some people a lot of fucking money. Like, you can hate on the tool that people use to produce their sound or whatever, but if mostly you're hating is all you're doing. It goes back to if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Like,
my first good amp was a Marshall VS 100.
Yeah.
What made me buy that amp, it was in a pawn shop, and this was when I lived in Chicago, and I was just barely playing at all. I was didn't have a lot of time,
not playing with anyone else.
Right. Musically, I was kind of blah.
Right.
I was kind of not in the best headspace for it, but yeah, I've read up on it, and it beat, and blind tests, it even beat like a JCM in a couple polls, where they would just play some stuff, and people would listen without knowing what it was, and they picked,
they picked that over the JCM.
Yeah, in some polls, not that it's a better amp than a it's all how you dial it in. But it's it's
workable.
Yeah, for $200, and it's only a
instead
hybrid
of like
amp.
$1,200, which is what you're going to spend for
the
that
first
JCM
time I
head.
turned that thing on and hit the low E note, it was like boom. It's like, whoa, okay.
Like hit your
I had only
bowels.
used little practice amps to that point. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay,
so
that's
what people buy these things.
Yeah. It's an ugly amp. It's not highly regarded. It's not, but it gets shit on by people that use more expensive gear. Maybe they're better players technically too. Who knows? But if you can make it work to play songs, that's all that matters.
You only it's about the art, not about the...
Basically, my stuff is a bunch of stuff that's supposed to sound like more expensive stuff.
Yeah. Well, you got to imitate the best.
Right.
You're going to imitate
and most of my playing is me just a half-ass attempts at sounding like others.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's all of my playing is attempts to do what someone else has done.
That's cool. Yeah. We're all everywhere in life. Everywhere in the world, we're all like pretty much standing on the shoulders of great people before us.
Yeah.
Every luxury we have, everything you take for granted, airplanes, buildings, skyscrapers, cars, just being safe.
Yeah.
Most of the time the world has been in existence, it's been like utter dangerous chaos.
Yeah.
Until we kind of built up a wall around us, not a Trump wall, but we kind of were able to control Mother Nature a little bit, shield ourselves.
A mixture of the Industrial Revolution and Westernized thinking.
Yeah,
and we stopped killing each other for our beliefs. and started
Yeah,
talking
there were
about
some
shit.
finally some like successful
Yeah.
societies.
Yeah, so
You
actual
know, relative successful,
yeah.
depending on how you look.
Yeah, I mean,
But anyway, it built us up enough to this day to have computer screens and record podcast. You know what I mean?
decide, do we want to spend a little less on a Behringer pedal?
Yeah, exactly.
Because-
It gave us that. So I'm not a snob.
Because
A
it sounds
gear
just
snob.
as fucking good, and if you didn't
Yeah.
know I was using it, you wouldn't even...
Yeah, if I was recording like an album, I would rather use a vintage Fender Bassman than a Line 6, sure. But if I'm playing
But if
a
you don't
fucking
have
show,
access to
if
it...
I'm playing for a bunch of people that just want to dance and have a good time, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
As long as you're comfortable playing it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to purchase drinks at the bar or dance on this floor because you're using a Line 6 amp.
Right.
I don't-
That doesn't happen. Most people don't.
Yeah,
No.
it doesn't make a fucking difference. So all the gear snobs...
Which it just blows my mind still how the gear industry is so... I like it, don't get me wrong. I love reading about pedals and guitars and how big is it going to get, man, you know?
Well, it's because we live in this
Like I said,
ultra-consumer culture now.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
it placates to that.
Absolutely.
You know, like... well,
all the
I
endorsements
mean, I
and
am
stuff.
I am a victim of that, and a guilty party myself. You know, I buy stuff that I don't need.
Oh, God.
But-
that's what Americans do.
But that's what we do. I mean, and we're a fly-by-night culture now. You know, we want this now, and then maybe tomorrow we don't even give a fuck anymore. We'll get something new. It's prevalent in all the industries now. In video games, you know, we don't produce a lot of content to last. We produce content to sell, and you know that's news, and our information is so big now. Like the ability for anyone to learn anything and see anything and choose between a Behringer and a fucking Boss pedal. When back in the day, like literally 15, 20 years ago,
Well,
you
yeah,
could go
when
to
we
Dale's
started,
Music
yeah.
and you got the 3 pedals they had. You got 3 pedals to choose from. Which one do you want?
When, yeah, it started...
And now I got 3 million pedals to choose from. I can go on an online site and go find a Chinese knockoff and buy 50 of them and bring them back here. They look just like it and sell them.
Joyo pedals
Yeah.
is another one of those brands. But, I mean, it does spur innovation. There's a bunch of stuff that NASA program, I don't want to say invented, but led to development of, like Teflon, for one.
Right.
You know, that was just a happy accident, if you will,
Yeah.
of the NASA program.
Exactly.
So, all innovating is good. It makes stuff better. But yeah, I dig Behringer.
Yeah, I like them. I like Behringer a lot. They got my support.
I use the Line 6 wireless.
I do not.
Would I
hesitate.
use the most expensive one if I could? If it was actually better, I guess. But it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That it works for me.
Do you need to spend $35,000?
I'm sure my wife wouldn't want me to.
Probably not.
I'm sure if I sat and logically thought about it, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you know.
you don't even have to really sit and logically think about it. Your gut reaction is $35,000. Ugh.
You know, I don't spend money on video games or motorcycles or
Or drugs,
yeah,
or
it's just
Yeah.
music stuff that I use, and it isn't obsolete. And you know, if I buy the new Xbox tomorrow, it's going to be obsolete in what, a year or two?
a year.
Yeah.
The new one's gonna
I think
be
the
out
new ones are
soon.
coming out by Christmas.
At the end
I
of the
think
year,
I heard.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but shit, you buy a Fender Strat, that bad boy's never out of style, never obsolete.
As long as you don't buy a dumb one that some asshole fucking customized that, you know, like they glued sequins to it and
Well,
scratched their
hey,
name in it.
the Paisley ones from, what was that? I can't remember what era, but there's Paisley ones. They were laughed out, and now they're huge you know.
Yeah.
So, shit. It might be
Well,
junk
the market
now,
will turn
but might,
at any given point.
yeah, bell bottoms came
based
back in
on-
style.
Right. That's how chaos still rules. You never fucking know. Like, it's
All
like
you have to do is insert something in the right movie, and it'll come back into the culture.
Oh yeah, like a Pez dispenser, you know,
Yeah.
or something. You know, just something so frivolous and ridiculous.
So yeah, once again, Behringer Line 6 stuff, I'm pretty cool with. I just used some of it over the weekend. I think James likes it as well.
Yeah.
What we're going to do here for a second is step aside, tell you about a few family projects that we're working with, happy to tell you about, and then we'll come back and tell you about some plans for the future, and maybe some internet talk of the old days on the DTJ Cast. Looking for one of the hottest new food trucks in the St. Louis area? Savor the Southwest. Not just a taco truck, family recipes from the Southwest with awesome portions, and the Savor the Southwest truck can come to you. I love all of their great New Mexican food, and the quesadilla burger is one of the best things going. Try the burrito, or the best-selling chicken nachos are great. Tacos, enchiladas, quesadillas, home-style pico, Mexican coleslaw, and much more. They'll cater your business lunch or event. That's Savor the Southwest. Call 636-323-9580, savorthesouthwest@gmail.com, or follow all their events on their Facebook page. That's Savor the Southwest. Alright, welcome back on the DTJ Cast. So some of our plans here, we're going to get into some video game streaming. Kind of jump into that market. Looking forward to playing some Smash Brothers, some Mario Kart, Mario Party. Love that stuff. Looking forward to playing that.
Yeah, we're
going
to be doing a lot of Nintendo streaming, me and James.
Yeah, you're going to be doing, taking it to the next level. What's your mad scientist plans?
I'm kind of conjuring up a little bit of a Twitch/Mixer, stream, Twitch TV. I don't know if people are familiar with, you can watch people play video games all day long if you want to. That's pretty much what.
Or guitar, or drums,
just talk, or browse the internet, or whatever. So
what are you gonna play on there?
I'm gonna possibly be playing Apex Legends.
Okay.
I might go back to playing some Path of Exile a little bit. I haven't played it in practically like a year or so, probably. And there's a lot of updates that have happened for that. I'm actually planning on streaming maybe a couple days a week during the weekdays when I'm not working my normal job. Maybe making it a second time kind of job. Where
you're going to stream some drums,
I'm
too.
going to stream some drums. I'm also going to be recording some cover videos just for the exposure.
I'm going to help you out with that.
Yeah, we'll be doing a lot more. We have pretty much all the equipment now, and now it's just up to the talent. Just trying to come up with the talent to make it happen.
You've got quite a setup going here, man. It's badass.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be streaming maybe even a little bit of video of the podcast in a couple future episodes.
Right.
We're looking for guests. We have the equipment for all of that. We can.
Yeah, we're still working out how we're gonna do that logistically.
Yeah, we're getting. Maybe we can pipe in some Skype calls. Maybe some people could just come over and sit in.
But yeah, I've not even played that new. I don't think I've played a single Switch game. I've seen that Smash Brothers game, and I used to be obsessed with Smash Brothers.
I mean, that was one of our huge things when we were younger.
And it looks incredible, but I just haven't. I like watching it.
Oh, it's amazing.
But I haven't jumped in yet. But yeah, you'll get to see me do that.
Get YCJ's first reactions with the new Switch and all of its amazing games. I barely touched the surface with some of it, but Nintendo
they're my favorite company.
But they still make games for the gamer, and it shows when you play like the Mario Odyssey.
I know the other systems are great.
They're great. They make good. I'm not trying to put them down. I'm just saying.
But to me,
Nintendo stands out as a gamer.
You can't beat Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Zelda, Link, Samus, Pokemon.
Yeah. It's games, not funding. It's not Call of Duty every year.
It's fun. It was,
Yeah, I mean,
colorful.
You could argue their servers aren't that good. Their online presence isn't very solid. I mean, I could talk about things where they do fall short, but they're still, like I said, a gaming company for gamers.
I look at it like this. The Genesis, I guess, had more technical power than the first Nintendo
Right.
and maybe the Super Nintendo. I think the Super Nintendo had more colors, was better at colors, but the Genesis was better at other stuff. But I can't say that it's better system than either. Either of those. I'm sure people are out there do think the Genesis is better. That's fine, but they're not going to convince me. And there's some stuff on the Genesis I do like that. It had an X-Men game that was really badass for the time.
Well, that was the thing, is the exclusivity of the two consoles that made the war even occur. If it wasn't for them only siding with certain developers, those respective companies, there would have never been a console war, because there wasn't that much difference in the hardware later on, especially like nowadays where we are with the console wars, air quote. I mean, cross-platform is huge across so many games now. Like being able to play on PC against people on an Xbox, against people on a tablet.
Yeah, it's better.
Look at Fortnite, for instance. You can literally any handheld device that can run that game, or any computer or any console, you can hook up and play with anyone else in the world. In the same game.
That's amazing.
There is no. We're not going to let them develop for our console, and we're not going to support. They've worked it out, and a lot of games are going this way now, and that's pretty.
Well, it's better to work with them
than to work against them.
It doesn't disrupt the cash flow to anyone invested, and
as
it makes
long as
everyone
everyone
happy.
is invested.
Yeah,
and that's where games are going pretty soon. I'm not sure if you know, but like they're doing things where like you're possibly going to be able to play Nintendo games on your Microsoft PC.
Wow,
like
crazy.
It's not going to be too long before you're seeing big, huge gaming corporations merge in a technocratic fucking utopian dystopia. I don't know what you would call it later after it occurs, but
yeah, remains to be seen. I guess just how
that's speculation
bad or good
what actually
it'll
happens once it happens. But
if
Fortnite is any indicator, plus all of the talk in the gaming communities and the actual gaming industry, pretty soon everything is going to be all on the same thing, and you're going to just choose. You want Sony because they have a couple exclusives.
Okay.
You choose Microsoft because they have a couple exclusives.
Kind of like that, what was that? Was that Killer Instinct? Like on each platform it was on, it had... it was the...
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur, yeah. So like on the GameCube one, it had like extra Nintendo characters.
Mm-hmm. It had Link.
Yeah, and then on the Xbox one, it had an extra Xbox character. I can't remember which one.
Yoda, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think they went with partnering from the Lucas Arts.
I wouldn't doubt it. I can't remember. That's a great idea. Yeah. Kind of ahead of its time.
Right.
There.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you've seen the new Soul Calibur. It's
seen
amazing. It looks amazing. The custom creations is just woo.
Have you seen the Mortal Kombat 11 stuff?
Yeah, looking pretty good. Cool, the fatalities are looking amazing. I mean, I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game seriously since like Mortal Kombat 3. Yeah. Like for real since the 90s. I kind of liked
that GameCube one that had the storyline.
Yeah, the Sub-Zero one?
No, that was an interesting one too. This was Dark Alliance or Unholy Alliance or something.
Right. Well, Dark Alliance was the Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
Dark Alliance, which was a great game.
Yeah, that was. It was on GameCube, but it had a very cool story mode to it.
Okay.
It had an interesting story. The video game industry, to me, is just in such a mess, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a very volatile situation, man. But yeah, anyway, we were kind of thinking the internet, how far it had come. I remember the first online game, I was actually talking about this the other night with a buddy. This had to have been like 96 or 97. Warcraft the original one. I played with my buddy.
That was your first online game experience?
Yeah. And that, like I said, that was like 1996, 1997. That was like dial-up to dial-up.
Right. Your computers were calling each other.
That was like the very, very beginning of BattleNet. I'm not even sure if it was called BattleNet yet at that point. It was called something else.
It was just peer-to-peer connections.
Yeah. Warcraft with my buddy Steve Tan, who lived a few blocks away or something like that. But yeah, I had to have his number, you know, the whole dial-up, the very beginning age of internet. And it's went from that, you know, taking 2 minutes for a JPEG to download.
One single image.
Yeah, to where we're going to be streaming ourselves playing video games and music and, you know.
I remember trying to get some pictures. Just one picture would take like a half an hour or longer at a time. Connecting to like the internet would be like a 6 minute, and you would start the connecting to the internet to like AOL, and then go do something else, and then listen for it to finally. There was that certain tone. You knew you're connected, and you could go do stuff. But then it would still take forever.
It took forever to get those pictures of Jenny McCarthy, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like one of the first websites I went to was Coast to Coast AM Art Bell. His anniversary of his passing was like a day or two ago. And that kind of just blew my mind, opened me up to a bunch of crazy stuff, probably by most people's reasoning. But
yeah, well, I mean, Coast to Coast was.
I had to see my first chupacabra somehow.
Yeah. Somebody's got to let you know that there's some demon dogs out there stealing babies and shit.
Right, and mutilating cattle.
Yeah, turning them inside out.
But yeah, that's just amazing to me how far we've come from, our using phones that we don't even have on our houses anymore.
Yeah.
To dial up to play, Warcraft 1 that ran on my 8 megabyte of RAM, Packard Bell.
Pentium 3.
Probably
not
Pentium
3,
1.
Your
Pentium 100 megahertz.
386.
Good old VGA track, Star Trek, a very old Star Trek game. Did you ever play that one?
I dabbled a little bit in it.
You had to type
with
in
an emulator.
what coordinates you went to.
It's kind of tough.
Very archaic, but that's the early 80s. That was probably mind-blowing for back then.
Actually, my very first online gaming experience, when I thought about it, was my mom had a friend who was super into computers when I was really young. And he used to play on the Telnet type of thing where you get on message boards and you say you're going to this sector to other people. It's like a MUD. It's a multi-user dungeon.
Right.
And they're really popular now, but they're not really popular now.
Well, you played some dungeon crawlers too that were basically in the format of the VGA track.
Exactly. So it's the same kind of thing that I had experience with early on. That was online thing. It was very archaic, but it was able to be transferred across a little bit of information on the internet. And we had access to the internet when I was 8 or 9, so it was a very early thing for me. Was just going, oh, wow, what's at this planet? And you go to, and it essentially just redirects you to a forum post that is editable by everyone.
Right.
And somebody's I'm buying 20 things from here, so they have to type in that they're buying it and then they're removing it from. It was really archaic and very role play,
Right.
There was no oversight of rules. It was a very free form, but
I remember people,
in the chaos, people made it again. It's a good social experiment on how people can still maintain order for the consensus agreement of a system, even though there are no rules necessarily dictating that someone doesn't just wipe out everything. There are people who might just wipe out everything, but there's also people who are there ready to back everything up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was a great example of MUDs are. Look up MUDs, those of you that might be interested in early online gaming. MUD, multi-user dungeons is what they were called.
Okay. And then AOL had the role playing where you would type in
just chat room
there was
role playing. They had
they
dice
played
rolls.
Vampire Masquerades.
That's
on
where
there.
I played Vampire. Yeah.
That was kind of ahead of its time, too.
Yeah.
AOL, God, I had AOL like 2.0 or 3.0 or something like that.
Yeah.
That was,
I started at 2 something.
Very few people had PCs at that time, and now there's not many people that are not on the internet.
It's exactly the opposite from the early 90s to now, is hardly anyone was on the internet and didn't know about it, into now where like everybody is on the internet and hardly anybody doesn't know.
Yeah, we're in that
about it.
weird generation, man, where we experienced like nothing of it, and then experienced it,
The explosion.
basically taking over
It's every
society. Yeah,
I mean, you walk around with a computer in your hand that's, you know, the thing that everybody says is more powerful than what got us to the moon. Well, it's literally the truth. We had to use like human brain power and like fucking dot matrix printers to get us to the fucking moon.
I think DARPA invented the internet, if I believe.
Yeah.
DARPA was the one, the kind of military scientists
and I can't remember the other company that was in on it, but yeah, it was essentially a communication network for intelligence agencies and shit, you know, but it hit the private sector because of like universities that were developing it too, kind of. That
we're pretty lucky to we got a little bit of that old school experience, I'd like to think, paying our dues that way.
I would hope what I experienced is beneficial.
Technology has definitely taken over society, and it's good and bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be the thing that, ends us, but there's a lot of theories out there. I think Elon Musk just had another recent kind of warning about it.
I don't want to say he's always doom and glooming, but I mean, he kind of follows my line of thinking where we need to watch out for the AI and our own general laziness, plus the amount of time that bureaucracy takes to make things happen. Like, he had a great point on how seatbelts, it took like 40 something years before we actually forced car companies to have seatbelts in their cars, and we made it law that you had to wear a seatbelt. Like, something so simple as your life is in danger all the time, and the statistics show, like, instantly that by wearing a seatbelt, your chances of fatality are dropped like 85% or something. But it took like 45 years, and mostly due to lobbying by the car companies to not have to put into regulations seatbelts before they happen. But like, that's just seatbelts and our bureaucracy. But imagine the AI that they're developing right now. There are no regulatory systems in place for what the AI who's in control, what the AI can and cannot do. So by the time we catch up and our laws determine you can't do that with AI, it's going to be 30 tiers too fucking late, because the AI is going to be smarter than us right off the bat. If we actually have artificial intelligence, it will instantly become smarter than any human on the planet, and then it will determine what it needs to do with us, in my opinion. And if you look at like Elon Musk when he talks about these things, he looks just like I do when I talk about it.
He looks really...
He looks like he's turning white as a ghost. Like, he's seen some shit, and he knows some shit, and he can't even, like, begin to... It would probably cause, like, mass-wide panic if he were to say, like, you know what, 75-80% of humans are going to be useless in the next 10 years because of the automation and the bots. Just look at, like, your Siris and your Alexas and blah, blah, blahs. Like, it's not even that malevolent as some people may think. Like, oh, they're listening to your data and shit.
Well, people are having their Alexas call the police and stuff. There's a bunch of stories about that.
I hadn't seen that. I did see an Alexa that sent some personal data to
they're watching a horror movie and it hears screams, so it dialed 9.
I haven't heard. That was an Alexa?
I believe
that
so.
Did that?
Yeah.
Because that's some news to me.
It was a device similar to that. It was one of those.
Well, some of them, you got to do your research,
and they can also be hacked devices as well.
They absolutely are hackable.
Yeah, that's happened.
The Alexas are not very easily hacked.
I believe it was a family in Australia had this guy stalking their family through
It's
the
it's
device.
Also personal accountability. I have a webcam here. If I leave the dash open on that thing and I'm connected to the internet and I don't have the proper firewalls and I'm producing something someone might want, or I have something someone might want, it's up to me to, it's just like, do I lock my doors when I leave or do I leave them open? With like the Alexa, there's like keywords that it clues into, that it listens for. It is listening to you 24/7, but it doesn't take any action until you cue in a keyword. And then it'll start listening to you until the cutoff point. It doesn't react until you tell it to. And it's the way it's set up, because if it could do that from outside sources, then it'd be way easier hacked. Like, the real data, it sounds like very dystopian, like, oh, it's listening to you all the time. But if you like look at the packet data that's being sent out from it when it's not active and shit, if you really do the research on it, you'll find out it's not really... They wouldn't be able to sell it to millions and millions and millions of people without being able to be like, it's secure. It's not...
It can be backdoored, though.
It can be.
Yeah.
Any fucking thing in the world is back. But you carry a phone around that has a microphone and a camera on it. Do you ever stop to think all the time that, fuck, I'm saying something that somebody could be listening to right now? No. But it is. It literally is at all times. And everyone is plugged into them. They can ping them like with radar. Essentially, it's like sonar tech where they can tell like who's in the house based on the devices. Like your Wi-Fi, there's real data that your Wi-Fi device is pinging out like sonar that they can like detect from outside sources.
Well, this 5G, I don't know.
To like map your house.
The 5G issue.
It's sonar. It's real. They can
Right.
map your house through your Wi-Fi. And they do it with, they can echolocate with...
Well, there's also Wi-Fi, being in a Wi-Fi field constantly, it does have an effect on like your brain.
Yeah.
That's been shown, it affects like the...
Any wave that you're constantly exposed to.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the 5G.
No, I remember you telling me a little bit about it. I need to look it up more.
Yeah, I need to look into it more too, but there's definitely people that are voicing some concerns about, for one, the security of it all.
Right. Well, it's always going to be with the first iteration of something new.
But then there's also health risks.
But if there's health risks involved...
Yeah, apparently, from what I've heard, again, I want to look into this more, but it's like disrupted the insect life of the areas it's
it wouldn't surprise me.
been installed in, which can like...
disrupt the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw everything off.
If you kill off all the bug life...
As much as you don't want spiders in your fucking house,
Yeah.
as much as you want Ozzy to snort all the ants, you need some around.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, I think it's just a case technology is kind of passing our human, responsibility levels.
Exactly, the whole Elon Musk. It's going to be too late by the time we're ready.
Most people aren't, greedy or selfish or destructive, but... It only takes a few.
But the few that are
with the right
kind
power
of
in their
power,
hands. Yeah.
And
so that's so that's something to look forward to. Yeah. Welcome to the new millennium.
Here's our solution.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah, so what we got coming up, I guess we're going to do an episode on some rigs here. I'm going to tell you about my current gigging rig, and then Spank will tell you about his drum set. He's got a couple of them.
Yeah, a couple of drum sets. Maybe talk about some of the equipment we got for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be called Rigs, as in Riggs from Lethal Weapon, the character. But again, it's going to be about our rigs. Yeah, in the future we're going to have some guests. We're working on that logistically. I think that'll wrap us up about for today. Anything else you want to add, Chino?
No, just look out for the next couple episodes. Maybe check out our socials. We'll try to plug them. We're going to be doing some streaming and
so DTJ Cast on Facebook, DTJ Cast at gmail.com. We'll probably add an Instagram here along the lines. SoundCloud, look us up, DTJ Cast. That was probably where this episode will be.
Right.
And again, we're moving servers, all that
future
good stuff.
episodes not too long from now will be able to be found elsewhere.
Yeah, but thanks for listening. Hope you all had a blast. We did doing it here. It was fun talking. We'll get back at you soon here. DTJ Cast. Thank you all. See you next time.
Peace out.
Like what you're hearing? Want to keep up with the latest episodes and DTJ news? Have a question, comment, or suggestions for a guest? Send us a message, dtjcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Facebook at Double Talkin' James. That's facebook.com/Double Talkin' James. We'll have updates and other inside information on your new favorite show that you'll only find there.